I'm starting like, I always start late, but this is late even for me. So I'm probably not going to be on here long. I was just hopping on because the end of my last stream, I didn't really say when I was going to stream again because I honestly wasn't sure. Thought I might last night. Straight up didn't fucking feel like it, so I didn't do it. Reasonable enough in my opinion. So I just hopped on here just to pop by, to pop by. Um, Still not sure about a schedule. I think it works better for me when I just jump on when I can rather than trying to stick to anything regular because my weeks are so different week to week that it seems ineffective. So we'll see how the random non scheduling does after the pre scheduling did do pretty well for me. So, maybe I'll look into seeing if I could do every other week or something, even though that doesn't necessarily help me at all either. Um, yeah, so tonight I went out for a bit. It was a poetry night. That's why I'm full of poetry. I read so much poetry tonight. It was very beautiful, very intimate little gathering that I went to. And it was really a beautiful night. It was way more, I don't want to say important or special because it seemed like such nondescript words, but I would say both of those things. It just ended up being a bit more standout for my memory than I was expecting upon having absolutely no pretenses. So I'm feeling very moved and very inspired. But since I was already done up, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna just jump on the stream for a little bit. Like, even though it is super late, it's like, what harm does it really do? So I also had no intentions of like what I would be doing right now. You can always tell that I'm just chatting when you have the bigger screen, by the way. And just like the other night, I might pull out a tarot deck if anybody like wants one in particular. I'll be willing to play with them, but it's just at least for this part of the year, whether it's winter, two viewers, or two viewers. Just love that. Maybe it's just this part of the year, the zodiac cycle ending, and also just being dead ass winter, middle of fucking winter. The cards aren't really like calling to me. I think that's another reason I'm avoiding creating a new schedule for myself. Because the last one it was fine, but it felt like, I don't know, trying to do 6 decks in 2 days is just silly. But I was trying to give myself a day off tarot and still doing this, but I have other things to do, so I don't know if I can really commit to more than 3 days. So I'm still working on that. I keep saying you can tell I got brain frogs creeping in. I recently remembered that I have this book too, and the last poetry book that I read on here went really well. It was really beautiful. It was a very sentimental kind of thing. This one's a little more graphic. It's not as pornographic as the cover would indicate, and it's a drawing, but I just don't feel like getting flagged. But ironically, it does match my outfit right now, just like black and red in general. And lately I've been wanting to shave my head again because I forgot how infuriating this length of hair can truly be. Yes, I have not had hair this short in at least 5, maybe 6 years. So it's been quite frustrating um, to remember. Maybe it was actually 3 years ago I had hair this short, but still, it's just so Lord Farquaad, right? So I've just been in the Mohawk mood, and this is from my Mohawk era, hence why all my self portraits, you can't probably really tell, have Mohawks. This one, I don't think I can actually just read, and nor is it poetry. I think it's all pretty much short stories, but I guess we can get this night of nothingness started by reading like the one or two poems that are in here. Um, I really like the idea of this book, and there's so many things that I think I did well with it, but it's not like the other one. The other one, the yellow one, if you have watched my stream this summer, we picked random numbers and read them all non sequentially over the course of a month or two. Probably even not two, but you get it. It was a lot of fun. This I don't think I just read these. This was unlike the other that is still available on Amazon just because I used to use CreateSpace and they got eaten by corporatism like everyone else, I suppose. So they're technically only available on Amazon. I deleted everything else. This book in particular, I only ever did a one run of. It was never available to the public. I only ever printed 14 copies. This is the original print. And then I gave away 13 because it's Halloween thing. So I've spent Halloween in Memphis that year. And like, I think I've always been really creepy. But when you surround yourself with really like light and bright people, I think that, one could assume that you also would be light and bright, which I am. I radiate that kind of light and joy from me without even trying, but I am also very dark. So I think this was probably one of the creepiest things I've ever done, just in context, even, where I just don't think I like it that much. But the aesthetic's really funny. So it's Night of the Giving Head, and it has a warning label on it, which, again, very funny. It says, warning, this book is rated R for violence and perversion. Night of the Giving Head, a Halloween special, YF Brain, which is a whole other chapter that we have yet to discuss. And it literally, if I open it up, it's like, LOL. Yeah, maybe this is how we start that discussion. No, I'm kidding. Nothing to see here. Night of the Giving Head. I really like the text, the fonts that I chose and shit. Like, it's very much my corny side of aesthetic. But the content of it is just not great. It was just not a good time in my life. It's very much traumatized. I'm not even gonna read the inscription. It says, Laugh out loud, love you. Thank some basic name for saving the worlds. The Mad Hatter speaks her satanic interior and tells the tales of hell on earth. Yeah, like, I don't know. Blessed be, love your brain. A lot I like, a lot I don't like. This is also 2015, mind you. So I think culturally things were a bit different. And I was definitely different. I was also pretty young, in my opinion. Well, I would have been like 23 for most of 23 by the time Halloween rolled around. I wrote this in like the couple weeks leading up to it when I decided what my Halloween plans were because we went to Memphis that year. So I wrote this basically in the time that the show was announced, and we made our plans to get down there and had them printed and shipped to me, or had them printed and shipped straight to Memphis and got them by Halloween. So it was very quick. That's how I used to do this, was very quickly. And this was a time before I knew what PMDD was. So my hypersexuality, although probably just me ovulating, and now that I know that, I have a much easier time to control that impulse of hypersexuality. But at the time I didn't, which is why it's very sexually charged, but also violence, because it's almost like the two sides of that coin. Where, of course, the premenstrual dysphoria is very violent. I still deal with, like, the depressing thoughts or, like, the hopelessness, even though I'm always like, I'm an unbreakable spirit full of hope. And then sometimes I feel absolute, total fucking despair to levels of wanting to just end it all just because my period's going to start in, like, another 4 or 5 days. So looking back at stuff like this, I totally see where the crossover's coming from. And in those 2 or 3 weeks, I went through that change where it was supposed to be hot, funny, sexy hell, but it just descends into like absolute madness, murder, and torture. Because that would be the course of my cycle. And it just so happens most Halloweens, I'm either on my period or right before my period. I have data tracking back to 2017 so I can see that pattern. But then if you backtrack it based on the average of a 26-day cycle, even as far back as 2015, which was years before I started paying attention, I pretty much ritualistically am always about to be bleeding right as the season is doing what it does, Halloween time. So this is something I wrote at the age of 22 in a matter of 2 weeks, just to put out something for Halloween, just to have something fun to offer. It's not fun, but like I said, I probably won't read the whole thing because it's not a lot of poetry, but there's a couple poems or at least mentions of poetry throughout that I'm just going to pick through. This first one, once again, 2015. It's quick and also just means absolutely nothing in a way. Um, Kimmy can break whatever webs she pleases. I myself have only given you teases. I have plenty of names, but only one title, and a headache so strong that you'll need more than a mitral. I'm an Antichrist rock star with a glorious picture show. I won't repeat a word. To the first you must go. All we need right now, and not a page more. 'Tis a sequel to number one. This is part four. Break it with an ass. Isn't that a given? This is how my brain breaks your religion. Like, pretty intense. Um, and then the whole chapters or story would just be the layers of hell, because of course that's the idea of it. Is the giving head part is demonic. And I think this was clever too. The layers of hell, so was like limbo, hell's waiting room, lust, house of pancakes, gluttony, prison island, avarice. I feel like adversary, I know, but avarice, and prodigality, point blank, wrath and sullenness, the outfield, hearsay, solitary confinement, violence, lake gloom, fraud, a chest full of pyrite, treachery, Lucifer's lair. So, kind of a fun thing. But yeah, they're more short stories, and they're pretty much all very dark, and they're not cute, fun. And even in the other book, some of those are really dark, but not all of them. But what's cute is I did do like a little, uh, like stanza of poetry for each chapter. Um, so I guess I could just read those. I'm just in the mood for poetry. Like I said, I might pull out some tarot cards, but um, just wanted to start small. We were having a pretty cool conversation the other night. Granted, I'm starting super late, so I don't expect it to be popping tonight by any means. And there is something. There was something else. I guess we just never really got that into the discussion on the Greek personalities yesterday, and it doesn't feel as relevant as it did before the stream. And it's kind of funny. Sometimes I try to like prep for my talking streams when I don't plan on doing tarot, and then of course it never really goes as planned, which is why most of the time I don't do prep work, even if it feels lazy. I think that's why I'm not very good at podcasting, is because I'll think or know what to say, and then it's like, yeah, but if I don't really feel it, then I'm not gonna do it. So, this is all just it's very funny, very goofy. But I was inspired. I saw a lot of people read poetry, and I saw a whole, um, I saw a whole group of people share some of their more intimate thoughts or words, and um, be there for each other, and kind of, I don't know, welcome anybody to do the same with open arms. And of course, I'm always fully prepared by having poetry on deck, because I just sort of carry my own poetry book around, which sounds weird, but also is nice to have a book to read, and if it's your own, how inspiring. That's just how I see that. But I didn't participate, and then what do? Come home and participate when there is no crowd, because it's sort of how I am, isn't it? And also, I think that if it weren't my premenstrual week, I probably would have been a little more daring as to actually participate when given the opportunity. Those things are difficult. So, I'll probably run through and read these stanzas. Just fun. And there was something I took note of, and I need to go back and read like the whole story, because I don't even really remember what some of these are about. It was a lot of them were like personal ties to violent crimes, and some were just things that happened around me or whatever. But yeah, they are particularly fucked up. Mm, that was so chuggy. Okay. And no, I wasn't trying to say like choigi. I was like really it chugged it, so I felt chuggy. Like it chugged. Um so let me roll ads before they pre-roll on us. I probably have another 15 minutes before the pre-roll, but since I'm about to get into poetry and then maybe move into cards, I feel like we might as well just take the ad break now. So I'll be back in 3 minutes and we'll do some poetry and see where else the night is gonna go. So ta-ta for now. See you in a minute. Okay, and I'm back. Alright, I'm reading some poetry because I'm in the mood for poetry and this book matches my outfit. God, I was covering that up and then I just didn't, so. Oopsies. Alright. The first story is probably my favorite, but like I said, I just think they're all too not good to read. There's a reason this was a exclusive, one time, one print. So once again, I'm just gonna read the 9 stanzas that start each story and move on. Uh, Currently, I make my wages. Okay, wait. This is for Limbo. And the story is Hell's Waiting Room. Currently, I make my wages bartending in hell. I could care less because the sinners tip well. It gives me time to think, so I'm forever grateful to my dear boss Lucifer, who keeps the place tasteful. I think it's funny. These are very, even the first little poem was pretty rhymey. Okay, so second layer of hell, lust. This one's called House of Pancakes. Life sometimes has such a dreary glow, places to be with absolutely nowhere to go. Find an escape that suits your flavor, and hope the cards lay in your favor. Sounds like Love Me, but I guess that was lust. So number 3, gluttony. Prison Island. When you bet all your coins, and most the time more, fistful of jacks, and the dealer throws a 4, you find yourself floating towards some new land, forever be trapped if you don't know where to stand. Yeah. Yeah, some of these are like too personal. I love this picture. This was like back in the day when I didn't own a webcam. That's what I'm saying. The theme is really cool, like the layers of hell, and like I said, they're just stories about like trauma that I was going through in my late teens, early 20s, pretty much, and like traumatic events that happened to people I know, or like of someone I know, like in the news stuff, like people I knew, or people who knew them, you know, things that were affecting my community or my peers at the time. So it is definitely a cool theme. But yeah, I love this. This was when I still had a dread tail, and at the end of it was this fucking evil eye bead. And I don't know why I'm having deja vu showing all this picture. And I remember editing it, and maybe that was a dream where I was like editing it in different colors. Don't remember doing that. So maybe it was deja vu. Back in like the shitty webcam days, like barely had a smartphone at that time. Okay, so number 4, avarice. I need to figure out how to say adversary. I think is with a Y, right? Avarice, avarice. I don't know. And prodigality. That's like the prodigal son. Don't know. This story is called Point Blank. So the poem is generations of war can only generate hatred. How could we be mad when it's the way that we're bred? There is a reason you can't trust anyone because you never know who will fire a gun. That one, easily the worst one so far. Yeah, that's what I was saying. The dread tail bead. The bead at the end of the dread tail is what was in my mouth. Yeah, that one sucked. Anything with guns kind of just sucks. So uncreative. Alright, so wrath and sullenness is the 5th layer of hell. This one's called the outfield. I read this when I first found it maybe that was last winter. It could have already been a year ago. And I read through this and I remember thinking, this isn't that good. It's really overwhelmingly creepy and all this other stuff. But at the same time, I don't remember a lot of these stories. So I'm going to have to read it again. And if there's anything really noteworthy, we'll come back on and read it some other time. So, yeah, the outfield for wrath and sullenness. It is a shame to live a life without love. It is vital to our being when push comes to shove. Without causes jealousy to rear its ugly head, which results in somebody to end up very dead. Wah, wah. 6th layer of hell is hearsay, solitary confinement. Sit and observe, can't fathom what you see. Might ask yourself, this my freaky bee? A pat on the back and a cinch on the waist. Not if you were the last boy in all of outer space. Yikes. Oh, this one's funny. This one's like inner monologue, cult stuff, I think. She is your leader. Just kidding. Oh, just kidding. Oh, just no need to be sorry. She knows you don't like her, but do you know you love her? Yeah, some weird premenstrual fucking monologue. Seventh layer of hell. Violence. Lake Gloom. This one really perplexes me because I do not know what the lake is referring to, but. Okay. Nothing in this world will come with no cost. Pray every transaction is not a man lost. It can happen to anyone, no matter where at, before the floor even catches the hats. Yeah, this is like morbid Dr. Seuss right now. This is like that dude in hell writing poetry for Satan. That was the idea though. Like that's what I wanted it to be, that was number 6 or 7? 7. Okay, so we're on 8 now. Yeah, so envy is probably adversary and prodigal, because it's not on my list. So I'm guessing that's what the 4th one is, because I always thought of lust, gluttony, envy. But then also, if I have limbo, is that even one of them? I don't know. Oh no, envy is the 7 deadly sins, not the layers of hell. The 2 different things. Yeah, so good question. No. All right, so number 8, fraud, a chest full of pyrite, which I really love that. I really love that. All the while, we still have no control of what bridges are built and which have a toll, living in blissful ignorance until we reach death, from the time we are born to our very last breath. That's kind of boring. Number 9, last one. Treachery, Lucifer's lair. Gotta find it though. But of all that has happened, you still take the cake. From the ungraceful morning to every last wake, I applaud your insanity. I truly admire your fatal dedication to my girl desire. That's a good ending. And then I'm like, so about that. I didn't have a quality camera, didn't know what the fuck was wrong with me, didn't know why I was like this, didn't know anything about myself, but I was vulnerable anyways, and I put myself out there and was very honest about it, that I was going through these traumatic experiences, and figured that had something to do with my post-traumatic behavior, but it was more related to the PMDD that I didn't know about, but still was affected by at the time. So it's very interesting to look back on things like that, because even in the other book, although it's more hopeful, it was just a different era, That one I mostly wrote in 2011 and published it in like 2013, whereas this I wrote and published in 2015. So those few years, definitely things were different, and I was breaking out of those kind of like hippie holds, because a lot of that is very much appropriated culture, and it's why cultural appropriation is even a problem, is because of what and how ignorant people are in that scene, or were at the time. I think it's a lot better now with the internet and just more consciousness and diversity amongst these crowds, but for a long time it was just white people, and a bit too hard, and I'm glad I could break out of that, because like I did have these like bad mat dreads and stuff back then, and I'll just never shy away from my mistakes, part of resisting relationships and being child free, and just avoiding too much interaction with other people means that a lot of my karma is served, straight to my face, where it's like I can sort of see karmically why I haven't forgotten a lot of these things, or why I find certain things at certain times, where this is memorabilia to my life, but it's not always pleasant memories that I come across, and somehow I made them so pleasant, even though I was kind of truly miserable, having been unable to do anything about my condition, because I didn't know what the condition was. So I guess I often will share on the topic, or the stuff that I'm more or less embarrassed about now. I guess I'm not embarrassed, or I wouldn't share it, right? Things that should humiliate me that don't, for 500. Um, Either way, I think it's good to share because it does help give um, some explanation for my lack of scheduling or for my concentration on the book I'm working on, which, like I said the other night, super slow moving, very unmotivated, really, to do it lately because I'm sick of PMDG taking up so much of my life and so much of my time that the reason I need to write the book is because there's such a lack of not understanding but like uniformity or like community surrounding it in so many different ways that I think that having done the work for myself ultimately would help um, pro- propel any further research from anyone else, and that's cool. But then I get so sick of the fact that it takes up so much of my time just having to go through it that it sucks needing to spend my free time or my good time talking about it and dealing with it in other ways and like trying to change my life to accommodate to it in the sense that it's become a mission for me, like that's it can be very frustrating. It can also be really quite lonely. There's something to say about that too, where it's not necessarily super relatable and it's not necessarily something that people want to know about unless they know me or have similar symptoms or have dealt with it, right? So it can be super isolating to have to work on these projects and be quite misunderstood over the years and to this day, and seeing stuff like that and understanding why people would feel some type of way or be intimidated, scared, or even turned off and see me as this unlikable or psychotic person. I can totally understand that, despite the fact that I disagree. I can understand that at times being unhinged was more dangerous than fun, right? So that's why I just little peek, little glimpse, little poetry, a few stanzas. That's fine, but nah, I'm probably not gonna read this book like I read the other one. I probably couldn't even read this back cover right now, but I will just for funsies. As you sit alone with the moon, nothing to do with the dismal life you see before you, chilled to the bone, craving a warmth no human could satisfy, contemplating waking up, and weighing the pros and cons of being, exhausted from the everyday grinding motion of your joints, when all hope of anything beyond the infinite tunnel of perpetual monotony is gone, because all you can think about is death itself, is the time to read this book, for that is the place it has come from, spawned in the very molten center of hell, and flown through every ring of the fires, rocketed into space around the stars, through the sun, and pull back into full gravity through the gates once more. Welcome home, darling. We're so happy to have you. Ooh, a little color change. I like that. Appreciate your support, Taylor. I might stream a little bit longer, but also part of me feels like I could go. I read a little poetry. That's what I really wanted to do tonight, was just touch base, be like, hey, I'm streaming right now. Don't know when I'll stream again, when I feel like it, right? That's kind of the whole MO. But at this point, it's late. I don't think anyone else is going to be joining, especially because I didn't start with tarot. And honestly, as much as it sounds nice to draw a few tarot cards, I think I'll get too into any of them. And it just might be too late and I might just be too tired. So I think I might bid you adieu. Once again, I appreciate you keeping me company tonight. Um, it was fun. I'm glad I read some poetry. I love that poetry book literally matched my outfit. None of this was planned, but like I said, I caught some live poetry. It really moved me. Really felt like I met some new people that may end up being, of significance, or so I could hope or dream just from interacting with such a beautiful scene. It's been a long time since I even felt that there was a genuine sense of community around me because, you know, places are weird like that. A lot of times it's more cliquey than anything. So I'm just grateful to, even though maybe I'm not necessarily a part of what other people had going on, I am just as much an admirer and hope to observe once more. So I was just inspired to come on here, read some poetry, participate in the vibes. It is 111 today, January 11th, of course, and I do want to try to finish this cover I started working on months ago, and then I just didn't like it, so I just kind of gave it up and was like, I don't need to do this. But now Friday is Friday the 13th, and I have a reason to think it would be a good day to do this, so I'm going to try to do that in the next couple days. I might come on here tonight and do some tarot, but honestly, the only cards I really feel like losing, what? The only cards I really feel like using since the year started is a Cosmic Deck of Initiation. I firmly do believe that when we get to the actual zodiac cycle end of the year, like once Pisces season starts closing out, I think that we will do sort of a reflection, maybe probably with the Halloween Oracle doing a shadow self reflective um, back on the year to kind of go over what we needed to learn, and then transitioning into the New Year's Eve like doing that. Then we'll get into some of the other decks and get a fresh reading. But I'm thinking that there is pretty much like an off limits vibe for the tarot, not just tonight, but until New Year's Eve, which is going to be, I think, March 19th. So I will definitely be on here, and I will continue to use the Cosmic Deck of Initiation for inspiration. But right now we are focusing on being inspired. All bets are off. It's all like all the tallies are in, the votes are being counted. Like I don't know. There is this vibe of like you have until the end of Capricorn season to get in at any last minute requests, anything's knocked off the list type shit. Um, and that of course is January 19th. Um, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Love that. So that's what I'm saying is like it's gonna be busy the next few days, the next week is gonna be super busy. Retrograde comes out, or I'm sorry, Mercury goes back direct on the 18th, and then Cap season ends the 19th, and then Aquarius season is most likely going to be really busy. It's going to be so busy. Um, it's going to be chaotic and hard to keep up with, and then Pisces season will be celebrating once more and kind of reviewing the year, looking back, being like, okay, blah, 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 and planting seeds for spring, for March to transition into Aries season. So I'm really looking forward to that. And there will be tarot again at that point. But until then, yeah, there's going to be very little tarot on this channel. I can already tell. I will still come on here and answer questions without the tarot cards. And I will probably do more poetry. And of course, I started working on these angel number cardboards. You know how I am. I was working on these last night, and I have so many right now. I have another one in here too. I almost did them tonight, and I was like, I don't really have the energy. I don't really have the energy to do that. So I'm not gonna. And I was gonna pull some tarot out, and I said, I'm not gonna do that either. So today is now like Wednesday. Yeah, so I might be back Friday or Saturday. Maybe tonight. I might try to pop on here tonight. But I will not be available Thursday, Friday, possibly not Saturday. I will find out and try to let y'all know today. But since it is 111, we might come back on here with the inspiration, the angel mandalas, do a little spread, little run, later tonight. So that being said, I think that's it. I think I'm gonna go. It's a slow night. I started late. That's my bad. I was out. I don't really care. This was kind of beautiful in its own way. So cool. I love you all. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching the replay. Thank you for everything, the subscriptions, the follows, the comments, the chats, the compliments even is it's all never been lost on me. It's always appreciated. Anything I get, the tips, the reviews, all of it is seriously, I'm grateful. So for better tabs on me to be able to keep up and catch my announcements, you can follow me on Instagram at illymilly or at ilmystics. The link should be in the bio. You can also visit my website if you're seeking some content in between streams, www.illymilly.com, also in the bio. And you can watch my show or some past streams or book a reading for yourself because private readings are always open. You can even check out my merch. You can check out my merch actually on my Twitch page, which is cool. And then you can check out my other merch right on my website. So check out both Ill Peril lines. Some really good stuff. And you can also join my Patreon for like not that much, $5-ish a month, just to watch all of my old past streams. I'm still working on posting some of the more recent ones, but all my earliest streams are on there, which I started streaming last winter, so February, March, even no, January too, I think. So you catch Janice Lou, Langston Hughes came up, what's his name? Kurt Cobain. Lots of really cool channeled streams back then. So those are all posted. I'm just working on the ones from, I think, pretty much Leo season on, or it's not on there. But everything from last Pisces season up until this Cancer season is, or Gemini season. I don't think I streamed during Cancer season. So check that out. Let's link back up later tonight, I think. We'll try to make that happen. And have a great night. Have a great 111. Have a great angel number day. Have a great life. Have a great time. Have a good shift, whatever you're doing today. I just hope that you see greatness in everything that you do and everything you are. And I hope you express gratitude for that greatness that you connect to inevitably today through God or through science or through a mirror like myself to show you your highest good and highest personality that you can achieve, which is ultimately the most pure and beautiful forms of human love. Okay, so good night and good luck. Love you all so much. Thank you.